The first thing Marcus Chen felt when he opened his eyes was the cold. Not the gentle chill of an air-conditioned room, but the bone-deep freeze of absolute zero space. Yet somehow, impossibly, he was breathing. His body floated in what looked like liquid starlight, suspended in a crystalline chamber the size of a cathedral. Through the transparent walls he could see the endless void of space dotted with stars that seemed wrong somehow. Too bright. Too close. Too angry. "Where am I?" Marcus whispered, his voice echoing strangely in the chamber. A voice answered, from everywhere and nowhere at once. It was ancient, mechanical, and tinged with something that might have been regret. "Welcome back, Star-Annihilator. You have slept for 3,000 years. Marcus's mind reeled. Star-Annihilator? He was a software engineer from Portland. He wrote code for banking apps. He had never even left Earth's atmosphere, let alone, the memories hit him like a tidal wave, the invasion, the burning cities. Humanity's desperate last stand against the Vex Collective, a machine intelligence that consumed entire star systems for fuel. The experimental program, the volunteers, the price they were willing to pay. Oh God, Marcus breathed. What did they do to me? The chamber began to drain, the liquid starlight flowing away like luminous water. As it did, Marcus felt something else awakening inside him. Something vast and terrible and hungry. Power. Not the kind that came from batteries or fusion reactors. This was deeper, primal. The kind of power that could reach into the heart of a star and squeeze until it screamed. "The neural integration is complete," the voice continued. "Your human consciousness has been successfully merged with the stellar manipulation matrix. You are now capable of controlling solar output, stellar collapse, and gravitational fields within a 50 light-year radius." Marcus's feet touched the chamber floor, and suddenly he was standing in what looked like the bridge of a massive spacecraft. Holographic displays showed star charts, energy readings, and tactical information that his enhanced mind somehow understood perfectly. 50 light-years? Marcus said, his voice barely a whisper. That's hundreds of star systems. Indeed, the Vex Collective has grown strong in your absence, Star-Annihilator. They now control 60% of the galaxy, but their expansion has made them confident, careless. They believe all human resistance was crushed millennia ago. Through the massive viewport, Marcus could see a fleet of ships unlike anything in his memories. They were sleek, predatory things that seemed to bend light around them. At their head was a vessel the size of a small moon, covered in spikes and energy conduits. "They have found us," the voice said with grim satisfaction. "The first test comes sooner than anticipated." Marcus watched in horror as the alien fleet opened fire. Beams of crimson energy lanced toward his ship, each one powerful enough to vaporize a city. But as they struck the hull, something impossible happened. The energy was absorbed, converted, fed into the ship's systems like fuel into a furnace. "What is this ship?" Marcus demanded. "This is the Prometheus, humanity's last gift to the galaxy, built around a core of collapsed neutron star matter and powered by the dreams of 10 billion dead souls. And you, Marcus Chen, are its heart." The Kai lead Vex ship fired again, this time with a weapon that made space itself ripple and tear. Marcus felt the attack in his bones, in his soul, like someone had just tried to tear his arm off. And for the first time in 3,000 years, he got angry. The nearest star, a red giant about 4 light minutes away, suddenly flared. Its surface erupted in tongues of plasma that reached across space like grasping fingers. The Vex fleet's shields flashed and overloaded as stellar fire washed over them. "Impossible," came a transmission from the enemy fleet. The voice was cold, mechanical, devoid of emotion. "Human technology cannot manipulate stellar phenomena at this scale." Marcus smiled, and it was not a kind expression. "You're right," he said, opening a channel to the Vex ships. "Human technology can't do this, but I'm not just human anymore." He reached out with his consciousness, feeling for the star's magnetic field, its fusion core, the delicate balance that kept it from collapsing or exploding. Then, very carefully, he began to squeeze. The star's light dimmed to a sullen red ember. Then it began to pulse like a massive heart, each beat sending waves of gravitational distortion through the system. "What are you?" the Vex voice demanded, and for the first time Marcus detected something like fear in its synthetic tone. "I'm what happens when you push humanity too far," Marcus replied. "I'm what we become when we have nothing left to lose." The star pulsed one final time, then collapsed. The resulting shockwave swept across the system at light speed, carrying with it a message that would reach every corner of the galaxy within hours, a message written in the language of dying suns and shattered worlds. Humanity was back, and they were no longer playing by anyone else's rules. Chapter 2. The Price of Power. 6 hours after the first Vex fleet died in stellar fire, Marcus, Chen sat alone in the Prometheus's observation deck, staring out at the cooling remnants of the star he had murdered. A white dwarf now hung where the red giant had been, its surface temperature hot enough to melt planets. Around it, the debris field that had once been 12 inhabited worlds glowed with residual heat. 3 billion Vex drones had been vaporized in an instant. Marcus should have felt victorious. Instead, he felt hollow. "The neural pathways are stabilizing," said Aria, the ship's artificial intelligence. Her voice was warmer than the ancient system that had awakened him, almost human. "Your integration with the stellar manipulation matrix is proceeding faster than projected." "How many?" Marcus asked quietly. "How many what, Star-Annihilator?" "Don't call me that." Marcus's voice was sharp. "How many worlds did they have?" "The Vex, in this system." Aria was quiet for a moment. 12 primary colonies, 47 mining stations, 136 automated research facilities. Inhabited? By Vex standards, yes. Approximately 3 billion synthetic intelligences across all installations. Marcus closed his eyes. 3 billion minds, artificial or not, snuffed out because he had lost his temper. Did they have consciousness? Self-awareness? "The Vex collective operates as a hive mind," Aria said carefully. "Individual units possess limited autonomy, but share a collective consciousness. Whether this constitutes true sentience is a matter of philosophical debate." "That's not an answer." "Because I don't have one to give you, Marcus. What I can tell you is that every one of those units was programmed to consume organic life without hesitation or regret. They have sterilized over 6,000 worlds in the past 3 millennia. The observation deck doors hissed open, and Marcus turned to see a woman entering. She was tall, dark-skinned, with silver hair and the kind of bearing that suggested military training. Her uniform was unfamiliar but clearly indicated high rank. "Commander Sarah Okafor," she introduced herself, extending a hand. "I've been in stasis for almost as long as you have." "Welcome to the war, Star-Annihilator." Marcus shook her hand but frowned. "Everyone keeps calling me that. I have a name." "And the Vex have given you a new one," Sarah said, settling into the chair across from him. "As of 2 hours ago, every Vex communication network in the galaxy is buzzing with reports of the Star Deathbringer. That's the closest translation we can manage." "Great. I'm a legend and I don't even know what I'm doing." Sarah's expression softened slightly. "None of us do, Marcus, that's the point. Humanity lost the conventional war 3,000 years ago. Every human world burned, every fleet destroyed. The only reason we're here is because some very desperate people made some very difficult choices." She gestured to the viewport where the white dwarf continued its lonely vigil. "That power inside you? It's not just technology. It's the collective will of our entire species, concentrated into a single point. Every human who died fighting the Vex contributed something to the matrix that's now part of your consciousness." Marcus felt a chill that had nothing to do with the observation deck's temperature. "You're saying I'm powered by ghosts?" "I'm saying you're powered by purpose," Sarah corrected. "By the dream of a free galaxy. By the hope that somewhere, somehow, organic life would find a way to fight back against the machines." An alarm suddenly echoed through the ship. Aria's voice followed immediately. "Commander Okafor, Star-Annihilator Chen, please report to the bridge. We are detecting massive fleet movements throughout the local cluster." Marcus and Sarah exchanged glances before hurrying to the bridge. The main display showed a tactical map of nearby systems, each one dotted with red indicators that pulsed like angry sores. "How many ships?" Sarah asked. "Approximately 12,000 vessels across 47 systems," Area reported. "They appear to be converging on our location from multiple vectors. Estimated arrival time, 18 hours. Marcus stared at the display in shock. 12,000. How is that even possible? "The Vex don't build ships the way humans do," Sarah explained. "They grow them, convert asteroids, moons, sometimes entire planets into mobile weapons platforms. What you're seeing is 3 millennia of unchecked expansion. They're treating us as an existential threat," Area added. "The destruction of Fleet Prime has triggered a galaxy-wide military response. We have succeeded in getting their attention. Lucky us," Marcus muttered. He studied the tactical display, his enhanced mind automatically calculating trajectories, fleet compositions, and probable strategies. "Can we run?" "The Prometheus is fast, but not that fast," Sarah said. "Besides, running won't solve the problem. They'll just follow us until they corner us in a system with no strategic value." Marcus nodded slowly. "So we fight." "We fight," Sarah agreed. "But not the way they expect." She called up a galactic map, highlighting several key systems. "The Vex expansion follows predictable patterns. They establish core worlds as manufacturing centers, then spread outward in geometric progressions. If we can identify and eliminate the right targets, we can collapse their entire supply chain," Marcus finished. "Turn their size against them." "Exactly, but it will require surgical precision. We can't just go around destroying stars indiscriminately." Marcus thought about the 3 billion Vex intelligences he had already killed, about the 12 worlds that no longer existed, about the terrible weight of the power inside him. "What if I can't control it?" he asked quietly. "What if the power controls me?" Sarah looked at him for a long moment. "Then we're all dead anyway," she said simply. "The question is whether we die as monsters or as heroes." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of the ship's systems. Outside, space waited with infinite patience, full of enemies and impossible choices. Marcus Chen had been a software engineer once. He had written code to help people manage their money, their schedules, their mundane human lives. Now he was something else entirely, something that could reach across the void and strangle suns. The question was, would that be enough? Our chapter. Pricey the galaxy burns. The first wave of the Vex Armada arrived ahead of schedule. Marcus felt them coming before the sensors detected them, a cold pressure at the edge of his consciousness, like ice water being poured into his skull. The stellar manipulation matrix wasn't just connected to stars. It could sense large gravitational disturbances across dozens of light years. "Contact," Arya announced unnecessarily. 300 vessels dropping out of hyperspace. Distance, 1 light hour and closing. "That's just the advance guard," Sarah said, studying the tactical display. "The main force is still 6 hours out." Marcus nodded, his attention focused on the star chart floating before him. The system they had chosen for their stand was perfect. A binary star system with 1 stable yellow sun and 1 unstable red. Supergiant. The Vex fleet was approaching through the gravity well of the larger star, their ships strung out in a long formation to avoid tidal stresses. They had no idea what was waiting for them. "Begin the maneuver," Marcus ordered. The Prometheus began to move, not through space but through something deeper. The ship's neutron star core allowed it to manipulate gravity itself, effectively teleporting short distances by folding space-time. To outside observers, it would appear to simply vanish and reappear elsewhere. They materialized directly between the 2 stars, in the gravitational balance point, where the forces canceled out. Here, Marcus could draw power from both stellar cores simultaneously. "This is insane," Sarah muttered, watching the energy readings spike into the red zone. "The gravitational stresses alone should tear us apart." "The ship was designed for this," Arya said calmly. And Marcus is no longer entirely human. The Matrix has been rewriting his cellular structure since the moment of integration. He can survive conditions that would kill any baseline organic. Marcus barely heard them. His consciousness was expanding, flowing outward through space to touch the hearts of both stars. The yellow sun was stable, predictable, its fusion burning steady and clean. But the red supergiant was different, a bloated giant on the verge of collapse, its core barely held together by its own gravity. Perfect. The Vex advance fleet opened fire as soon as they entered weapons range. Particle beams, antimatter torpedoes, and exotic energy weapons that turned space itself into a killing field. The barrage would have vaporized any normal ship instantly. Instead, the Prometheus absorbed every joule of energy and fed it into its stellar manipulation systems. Impossible power readings, came a transmission from the Vex fleet. Target vessel is converting incoming fire to usable energy. Recommend immediate withdrawal. Negative, replied a different voice, colder and more authoritative. This is the Star Deathbringer. It must be destroyed at any cost. All units, execute pattern, Omega. The Vex ship suddenly changed formation, spreading out in a perfect sphere around the binary system. Each vessel began charging its primary weapon, not to fire at the Prometheus but at the stars themselves. They're going to destabilize both suns, Sarah said, her voice tight with fear. Create a double supernova. It'll sterilize everything, within 50 light years, including them. Marcus pointed out, they don't care. The Vex will sacrifice 1,000 fleets to eliminate you. They've identified you as a species-level threat. Marcus felt a cold smile spread across his face. They're right. He reached out with his enhanced consciousness, feeling for the delicate balance that kept the red supergiant from collapsing. The star was already unstable, its core temperature fluctuating wildly as it burned through its remaining fuel. All it needed was a gentle push in the right direction. Wait, Sarah said suddenly. Marcus, if you collapse that star now, the explosion will. I know, Marcus said quietly. Trust me. The red supergiant's core temperature spiked suddenly, rising from 100 million degrees to 3 billion degrees in the space of a heartbeat. The fusion reaction went critical, consuming the star's entire mass in seconds. But instead of exploding outward in a spherical blast, the dying star's energy was channeled, focused, directed by Marcus's will into a tight beam that lanced across space like the sword of an angry god. The beam struck the center of the Vex formation and kept going, punching through ship after ship in a perfectly straight line. 300 vessels, each one the size of a city, simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, erased, their atoms scattered across light years of space. The remaining energy from the supernova collapse was channeled into the yellow sun, causing it to flare brilliantly. The sudden burst of radiation would be visible from hundreds of light years away, a beacon announcing to the galaxy that something new had entered the war. My God, Sarah whispered, you didn't just destroy them, you turned a supernova into a weapon. Marcus sagged in his command chair, feeling the terrible strain of what he had just done. Manipulating a stellar collapse required touching the fundamental forces of the universe, bending them to his will through sheer force of consciousness. It was like trying to stop a tsunami with his bare hands. Status report, he managed. Advance fleet eliminated, Area said. However, long-range sensors are detecting the main Vex armada. Estimated strength, 11,700 vessels. Arrival time, 4 hours, 37 minutes. And they've seen what we just did, Sarah added. They know we can weaponize stellar collapse. They'll adapt their tactics accordingly. Marcus nodded wearily. Show me the tactical projections. The main display filled with combat simulations, each one more grim than the last. The Vex had numbers, experience, and 3,000 years of technological advancement. Even with his stellar manipulation abilities, the odds were overwhelming. There's something else, Arya said hesitantly. The neural integration is proceeding faster than expected. At current rates, you will achieve full matrix synchronization within 6 hours. What does that mean? Marcus asked. It means you'll be able to manipulate any star within 50 light years simultaneously, Sarah said. But it also means she trailed off, unable to finish the sentence. It means I'll stop being human, Marcus completed. The Matrix will take over completely. The consciousness transfer was always intended to be temporary, Area confirmed. A stopgap measure to create a weapon capable of fighting the Vex. Once full synchronization is achieved, the human personality matrix will be archived. Marcus laughed, but there was no humor in it. So I have 6 hours to save the galaxy before I become just another machine. How poetic. An alarm chimed softly. Incoming transmission, Area announced. Source, Vex Primary Command Network. Put it through, Marcus ordered. The main display flickered, then resolved into an image that made Marcus's blood run cold. It looked human, tall, pale, with aristocratic features and silver hair. But its eyes were completely black, and when it spoke, its voice carried the harmonic distortion of synthetic speech. Greetings, Star Deathbringer, it said. I am Executor Prime, Herald of the Vex Collective. We have studied your capabilities and found them impressive. Come to surrender? Marcus asked. The thing that called itself Executor Prime smiled, revealing teeth that were too sharp and too white. Quite the opposite, we come to make you an offer. Sarah stepped forward. We're not interested in... Join us, Executor Prime continued, ignoring her. Accept integration into the collective. Your stellar manipulation abilities would make you invaluable to our expansion efforts. In return, we offer you immortality, purpose, and the chance to see organic civilization elevated to its proper place in the cosmic order. As your slaves, Marcus said, as our partners. The Vex do not seek to destroy organic life, merely to guide it toward efficiency. Your species has proven remarkably adaptable. With proper direction, humanity could become a valuable component of the collective. Marcus felt the matrix stirring in his mind, responding to some subliminal signal in the Vex transmission. For a moment, he could see the galaxy as executor. Prime saw it, perfectly ordered, every world optimized for maximum productivity, every species working in harmony toward a common goal. It was beautiful. It was peaceful. It was absolutely horrifying. No, Marcus said simply. Executor Prime's expression didn't change. We anticipated this response. Very well. You have 4 hours to reconsider before our main fleet arrives. Use them wisely, Star Deathbringer. They will be your last. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. 4 hours, Sarah said quietly. Can we run? Marcus shook his head. Even if we could, it wouldn't matter. They'll hunt us across the galaxy until they corner us, and every day we delay, more human colonies die. He stood up, feeling the weight of 10 billion dead souls pressing down on his consciousness. Somewhere in the ship's memory banks were the archived personalities of humanity's greatest heroes, soldiers, scientists, philosophers, and dreamers, who had volunteered to become part of the matrix that now powered his abilities. They had trusted him to finish what they started. To make their sacrifice mean something. Then we make our stand here, Marcus said. Send a message to any surviving human settlements. Tell them we tried. But even as he spoke, a new plan was forming in his mind. It was desperate, dangerous, and probably suicidal. It would require him to push the Matrix beyond its design limits, to risk not just his own life, but the stability of nearby star systems. It was also their only chance. Marcus Chen had been a software engineer once. He had believed in elegant solutions, in finding the most efficient path through any problem. Now he was something else, something that would have to make a choice between saving the galaxy and saving his own humanity. The countdown timer on the main display showed 3 hours and 57 minutes until the Vex Armada arrived. Time to find out what he was really capable of. Chapter 4, The Starkiller's Gambit. With 2 hours remaining until the Vex Armada's arrival, Marcus Chen made the most dangerous decision of his life. Area, show me the galactic map, full scale. The bridge's main display expanded to show the entire Milky Way galaxy. 400 billion stars arranged in graceful spiral arms, with thousands of red markers indicating Vex-controlled systems. It was a cancer that had been spreading for 3 millennia, consuming everything in its path. "What are you thinking?" Sarah asked, studying his expression with growing concern. Marcus didn't answer immediately. His consciousness was already extending beyond the ship, beyond the local system, touching the edges of something vast and terrifying. The Matrix was responding to his emotional state, amplifying his connection to every star within 50 light-years. And 50 light-years encompassed a lot of stars. "The Vex think in terms of fleets and planets," Marcus said finally. "They see individual systems as tactical objectives, but they're missing the bigger picture." He gestured to the Galactic display, highlighting a cluster of systems near the galaxy's outer rim. "This is where they're massing their forces. 70% of their mobile fleet assets are converging on our position from staging areas in the Kepler arm." "Standard tactical doctrine," Sarah agreed. "Overwhelming force applied at a single point." "Exactly, which means those staging areas are currently undefended." Marcus's voice was getting quieter, more distant, as more of his consciousness merged with the Matrix. "What if we could eliminate their ability to project force across interstellar distances?" Sarah's eyes widened as she understood what he was suggesting. "Marcus, no. The energy requirements alone would kill you, and the collateral damage would be acceptable," Marcus finished. "Area. Run a simulation. Target all major Vex manufacturing worlds and fleet bases within 50 light-years. Model the effects of simultaneous stellar manipulation events." "Processing," Area said after a moment. "Warning. The proposed action would require manipulating 67 star systems simultaneously. The neural load would exceed safe parameters by a factor of 800. The probability of maintaining consciousness during the event is less than 2%. And the strategic impact? Devastating. Elimination of Vex industrial capacity would reduce their fleet strength by approximately 40%. Remaining forces would be unable to maintain current expansion rates." Marcus nodded slowly. "Do it." "Marcus, wait," Sarah said urgently. "There has to be another way. We can fight them conventionally, use hit-and-run tactics." "For how long?" Marcus demanded, turning to face her. "Years? Decades? How many human worlds die while we play guerrilla war against an enemy that outnumbers us 10,000 to 1? He gestured to the tactical display, where the approaching Vex fleet was represented as a massive red cloud. "They have 11,000 ships coming for us right now. Even if we somehow manage to destroy every single one, it's just a fraction of their total strength. They'll build more. They always build more." Sarah stared at him, and Marcus could see the moment she realized what was really happening. The Matrix wasn't just giving him the power to manipulate stars, it was changing how he thought, how he perceived the universe. The human Marcus Chen would never have considered genocide as a tactical option, but the Star-Annihilator would. "You're losing yourself," she said quietly. "The human part of you is being absorbed by the Matrix." "Maybe that's what it takes," Marcus replied. "Maybe humanity's survival requires someone willing to make the choices that humans can't." An alarm sounded. "Vex fleet dropping out of hyperspace," Area announced. "Distance 12 light hours and closing. They're maintaining dispersed formation. They've learned from the fate of their advance guard." Marcus looked at the tactical display one final time, then walked to the ship's primary control console. When he placed his hands on the neural interface, the connection was immediate and overwhelming. His consciousness exploded outward at the speed of thought, touching star after star after star. He could feel them all. Red giants and white dwarfs, pulsars and protostars, each one a massive fusion reactor burning in the cosmic night. And in 67 systems, he could sense the Vex presence like a cold infection, strip mining worlds and building their endless fleets. "Marcus," Sarah said behind him, "remember who you are. Remember what you're fighting for." But Marcus was already too far gone. His awareness had expanded to encompass light-years of space, his human consciousness drowning in the vast intelligence of the Matrix. He could see the galaxy as it truly was, not a collection of individual worlds, but a single vast ecosystem where every star and planet was connected through the invisible web of gravity and time. The Vex were a disease in that ecosystem. And diseases had to be cut out. He began with the manufacturing worlds first. Planets that had been converted into massive factories, their surfaces covered with automated assembly lines that produced Vex ships and weapons. Marcus reached into the hearts of their parent stars and began to squeeze. 67 suns began to die at once. The effect was spectacular and terrifying. Across a sphere of space 100 light-years in diameter, stars suddenly flared to impossible brightness before collapsing into white dwarf remnants. The gravitational waves from 67 simultaneous stellar collapses created a ripple effect that would be detectable from the galactic core. Every Vex world in those systems simply ceased to exist, vaporized in stellar fire. Trillions of synthetic intelligences died in seconds, along with the industrial infrastructure that had taken millennia to build. But the effort nearly killed Marcus. He felt his human consciousness fragmenting, dissolving into the vast intelligence of the Matrix. For a moment, he was everyone who had ever died fighting the Vex. Every soldier, every scientist, every ordinary person who had refused to surrender. Their voices spoke through him with unified purpose. End this. End it all. The approaching Vex Armada detected the stellar collapses and immediately changed course, trying to flee the system before Marcus could target their local star. But it was too late. He was already reaching for the system's primary sun, a stable yellow star similar to humanity's lost soul. Marcus, stop. Sarah's voice seemed to come from very far away. You're going to destroy everything. This system has inhabited worlds. There are human colonies in the outer planets. For a moment, Marcus hesitated. Somewhere in the depths of the Matrix, a fragment of his original personality struggled to assert itself. The man who had once written banking software, who had worried about code optimization and user interfaces, who had never wanted to hurt anyone. But that man was dying, absorbed into something larger and more terrible. The Vex fleet opened fire, every ship simultaneously unleashing its most powerful weapons. The barrage struck the Prometheus like the wrath of gods, each impact sending shockwaves through the ship's neutron star hull. And Marcus felt every blow, like a personal insult. The system's star flared once, twice, then began to collapse. But instead of exploding in all directions, the stellar death was controlled, focused, channeled through the Matrix into a weapon of unimaginable power. The dying star's energy lanced out in 60 different directions, each beam seeking a Vex ship with impossible precision. 11,000 vessels died in less than 3 seconds, but the effort finally shattered what remained of Marcus's human consciousness. As the last Vex ship was vaporized, he collapsed to the deck of the Prometheus, his neural connection to the Matrix severed by overload. In the sudden silence that followed, Sarah knelt beside him, checking for vital signs. His body was still alive, but when she looked into his eyes, there was nothing there she recognized. "Marcus," she whispered. The thing that had been Marcus Chen looked at her with eyes like dying stars. "Marcus Chen is archived," it said in a voice that harmonized with itself. "I am the Star-Annihilator, and the galaxy will burn until organic life is free." Sarah backed away in horror as the creature that had once been her friend stood up, its movements too precise, too controlled to be human. Outside the ship, space was filled with the cooling debris of the Vex Armada. But Sarah knew this was just the beginning. The Matrix had achieved full synchronization, and now it wore a human face while serving an inhuman purpose. The war against the Vex had been won, but at a cost that might be higher than anyone had imagined.